If you've just finished Tears of the Kingdom and you're staring at your Master Sword wondering what to do next, don't worry, the adventure isn't over yet. There's an entire world of games on Nintendo Switch that capture that same Zelda magic, the thrill of discovery, clever puzzles, mysterious dungeons, and that sense of freedom only a true hero feels while exploring the unknown. From grand open worlds inspired by Breath of the Wild to charming indie adventures that feel straight out of A Link to the Past, this list is packed with games that make you say, whoa, this could totally be a Zelda spin-off. So grab your Joy-Cons, sharpen your curiosity, and let's explore 10 Nintendo Switch games that truly feel like Zelda. Which one do you think deserves to stand beside Link himself? Step into Alwa's Awakening, a retro-style 2D adventure that feels like someone lovingly mashed together Zelda 2 and A Link to the Past. You play as Zoe, a young heroine armed with a magic staff exploring ancient temples and forgotten lands. Each new spell or relic you discover opens previously unreachable areas. That classic get new ability unlock new path satisfaction that defines Zelda's design. The world feels alive with secrets, every hidden room rewarding your curiosity with upgrades or lore. There's no hand-holding, no flashing arrows, just you, your brain, and a maze of clever puzzles waiting to be solved. The ambient chiptune soundtrack and pixel-perfect visuals nail that nostalgic wonder of early Hyrule. If you ever miss the feeling of discovering a hidden staircase in Zelda's old temples, Alwa's Awakening will reignite that spark instantly. Don't let the goofy tone fool you. Ittle Dew 2 Plus is one of the most authentic love letters to Zelda ever made. You control Ittle, a snarky adventurer washed ashore on a mysterious island filled with dungeons, puzzles, and sarcastic humor. The game borrows Zelda's top-down exploration formula but twists it with non-linear progression. You can tackle many dungeons in any order. Each dungeon has its own theme, clever puzzles, and boss that demands both logic and timing. The art style is bright and cartoonish, yet the mechanics are razor sharp. Combat rewards precision, puzzles demand creativity, and exploration constantly teases what's behind that wall. It feels like playing A Link to the Past, but through the lens of a playful parody that still respects its source. If you miss Zelda's dungeon hunting days but want a cheeky sense of humor along the way, Ittle Dew 2 Plus absolutely delivers. Moonlighter asks a simple but genius question. What if Link decided to run a shop after saving Hyrule? You play as Will, a humble shopkeeper by day and fearless adventurer by night. Each evening you dive into procedurally generated dungeons, fight monsters, and collect loot to sell in your store the next morning. The gameplay loop feels deeply Zelda-like. Enter dungeon learn patterns, master weapons, beat bosses, then upgrade your gear to go even deeper. Combat is snappy and satisfying with sword swings and dodges reminiscent of A Link to the Past. The dual life mechanic adds a clever twist. Every rupee you earn fuels your next heroic run. Beyond gameplay, the cozy town, charming characters, and gentle music capture that quiet peace you feel when leaving a Zelda dungeon at dawn. For players who love Zelda's balance of combat and calm, Moonlighter is a perfect indie echo of that adventure rhythm. Hob doesn't tell you what to do, and that's exactly why it feels like Zelda. You awaken in a mysterious mechanical world filled with ancient ruins and puzzles that reshape the land itself. There's no dialogue, no quest markers, just exploration, discovery, and a quiet sense of awe. Every new area unfolds like a puzzle box where pulling a lever or rotating a mechanism unlocks paths to hidden treasures. This environmental storytelling echoes Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild, where curiosity is your compass. The combat is simple but satisfying, and the lush, colorful world feels alive with mystery. Hob captures that peaceful solitude of wandering through a forgotten land, piecing together its history one relic at a time. If you love Zelda's wordless storytelling and those aha exploration moments, Hob will make you feel right at home in its silent, beautiful world. Imagine if Zelda traded her green tunic for armor forged in Hellfire that's Darksiders. You play as War 1 of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, navigating a ruined Earth that's basically a darker, heavier version of Hyrule. Despite the edgy setting, its structure screams classic Zelda sprawling dungeons, themed puzzles, new gear, unlocking new paths, and epic boss battles that test both brains and brawn. Hookshots, boomerang-like weapons, and elemental abilities all echo Link's legendary toolkit. It's Ocarina of Time turned metal, and it works. The story carries a mythic tone, the world design encourages exploration, and every dungeon feels handcrafted with that satisfying one tool, one theme design philosophy. If you crave the complexity of Zelda's dungeon puzzles, but want combat that hits harder and louder, Darksiders will scratch that heroic itch just with bigger swords. On the surface, Death's Door is about a tiny crow collecting souls, but in spirit, it's one of the purest Zelda-like adventures ever made. Its top-down exploration, carefully layered puzzles, and beautifully designed dungeons all mirror the golden age of A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. Each new ability, from fire spells to hookshot-style tools, transforms the way you navigate the world, unlocking shortcuts and secrets just like a true Zelda experience. The combat is elegant and deliberate, blending light and heavy strikes with precise dodges, giving every encounter a rhythm that feels earned. But beyond mechanics, the melancholy beauty of its world, quiet ruins haunting music, poetic bosses taps into that same emotional depth that makes Zelda unforgettable. If you love Zelda's balance of action, mystery, and Heart, Death's Door captures it all with feathers, finesse, and a touch of darkness. Blossom Tales 2 is a love letter to A Link to the Past, not just in visuals but in spirit. You play as Lily, a young knight setting off on a whimsical journey told through a grandfather's bedtime story. That storybook framing captures the same fairy tale magic that makes Zelda timeless. The game nails the top-down combat and dungeon design heart containers, switches hidden rooms, and boss fights that blend pattern recognition with charm. Its puzzles are clever without being cruel, and its humor keeps things lighthearted. Most importantly, it evokes the feeling of being part of a grand adventure told by someone who loves adventure itself. If you miss classic 2D Zelda cutting grass for heart-solving clever block puzzles and getting lost in pixel-perfect forests, Blossom Tales 2 is your nostalgic dream come true. Few games capture the essence of Zelda as elegantly as Tunic. You're a tiny fox in a vast, wordless world filled with ruins, secrets, and danger. There are no tutorials, no markers, just exploration and intuition, the same design philosophy that defined early Zelda games. Every corner hides a mystery, hidden passages, cryptic symbols, and that aha moment when you realize you've looped back to somewhere familiar. Combat feels weighty yet fair, requiring patience like Link's Awakening mixed with a touch of Dark Souls. But the real Zelda magic lies in its sense of wonder. Discovering an entire in-game language and deciphering it piece by piece feels like uncovering ancient Hyrule lore yourself. Tunic doesn't imitate Zelda, it channels the curiosity, courage, and quiet joy that made the series legendary. If you ever wanted a Zelda 3D clone that actually does the formula justice, Oceanhorn 2 is it. With colorful environments, dungeon design, and mechanics straight out of Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, it delivers that perfect mix of exploration and structure. You'll solve classic Switch puzzles, battle towering bosses, and uncover secrets using a variety of tools and spells. Its orchestral soundtrack and whimsical art style bring that warm, adventurous tone that defines every Zelda journey. Even its pacing, from calm villages to epic temples, mirrors Link's greatest adventures. It doesn't just borrow Zelda's gameplay, it borrows its heart. For anyone craving a full 3D Zelda experience on Switch beyond Nintendo's walls, Oceanhorn 2 is the closest thing to sailing back into Hyrule itself. At the top of our list stands Immortals Fenyx, rising a game so unapologetically inspired by Breath of the Wild that it feels like its Greek cousin. You play as Fenyx exploring a massive open world filled with shrines, puzzles, gliding stamina climbing, and that same sense of freedom that made BOTW revolutionary. Each region has its own divine theme and puzzle temples that echo Zelda's Shrines of Trials, blending brainwork with combat in perfect rhythm. The humor is surprisingly sharp, balancing epic myth with self-aware storytelling. The result, a world that's joyful, clever, and constantly rewarding exploration. It's not just Zelda-like, it's a celebration of what Zelda taught the world about curiosity and courage. If you've ever stood on a cliff in Hyrule and felt that call to adventure, Immortals Fenyx Rising gives you that feeling all over again with wings. So there you have it, 10 incredible Nintendo Switch games that might not be Zelda, but they sure feel like it. Each one captures a piece of that magic, the thrill of discovery, the quiet joy of solving puzzles, the pulse of combat, and the wonder of exploring a world that feels alive. Because that's what Zelda really is, not just a game, but a feeling, a spark of curiosity, a moment of courage, a reminder that adventure can live anywhere, even outside Hyrule. Now it's your turn. Which of these games gave you that Zelda feeling? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through the spirit of adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, because your next great quest might just be one video away.